Yo, what is good, YouTube? What is good, PlayStation Nation? It is your boy Persona of Gaming with Persona, host of When Persona Speaks, host of When Persona Interviews, and one half of the host of What's Up PlayStation Podcast every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. And listen, guys, we back with episode 10 of When Persona Interviews, and I got a special guest here today. But before we shout out the guests, I want to shout out y'all. I want to shout out the chat. You know, I want to shout out y'all, man. Shout out to the early birds. Shout out to the lurkers. I know a couple people said they're gonna listen to the podcast while they work out. Get your sweat on. You feel me? Get your sweat on. And shout out to the lurkers and shout out to people that's gonna listen to this and watch this later. Definitely appreciate y'all as well, man. And listen, like I said to y'all before, this is a new mini series. I started it back last year. I stopped a little bit, but now I'm bringing it back, and it's gonna be bi-weekly. So it's going to be 2 guests a month, and it's going to be in an interview setting like this where, we're going to talk about, gaming, a little bit of the gaming history. It's going to be a really good conversation, right? This isn't, and like I said to you guys before, I know some of you guys got mad when I had Smooth on. Like, listen, this show specifically, and pretty much any show that I do, anybody's welcome, right? Because, it's good to have a conversation on all sides. You get what I'm saying? So, I'm going to have Xbox dudes on here. I'm going to have PlayStation dudes. I'm going to have PC dudes. I want to have the whole 9 because it's a conversation and it's good entertainment. You get what I'm saying? So don't be surprised if you see some PC dudes. Well, I had Kofi on here, right? So don't be surprised if you see some other PC dudes on here, Xbox dudes. Don't be surprised because it's a good conversation, right? But round of applause, man, for the people in the chat. Oops, look, you see, I always do that where I got the main volume off. Round of applause for the people in the chat. I said, round of applause for the people in the chats. Now listen, guys, listen. I got a very, very special guest, man, with me today. Listen, Press Star Podcast, PSP. I'm gonna have a whole crew on here, man, because I done had Jack Move, I done had Kofi, right? Not Alex, not yet. But we got my boy JMaine, one of the hardest PSP members to book. We had, listen, I think 3 times, right? 3 times, JMaine in the building. Yo, JMaine, please say what's up to the people. Introduce yourself and let the people know a little bit about yourself, man.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is your boy JMaine checking in with the people. I can't say back checking in with the people because this is my first time here. And like Persona said, I am the hardest man to book in the business. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. I like my naps. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I like to come home and just chill sometimes. And
yeah. Yo, you know what's funny? When I was young, I used to hate taking naps. I used to be like, yo, taking naps, huh? Now, like, yo, especially on the weekends, I'll take a nap.
Quick, fast, and I'm at the point. That's how I know I'm getting old. I'm at the point where if I just lay down in bed, bro, it's over. It's a wrap. No matter what time it is. I'm like, damn, son. Just yesterday, I was playing mad games. I'm sitting up. Today, I came home. I laid in my bed for 30 seconds. It was out. Good thing I set an alarm because I'm actually on time for this. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I came on time, and that's a special treat because people on, Press Start, they like to say I'm late, man, and shit like in Hollywood, but I had to show up on time for my brother Persona. So we here, you know what I'm saying?
Appreciate you, man. I really appreciate you being here, man. Like I said, guys, PSP in the building, man, JMaine. And I'm glad to finally get you on the show, man, because it's a lot of things gaming-wise that I definitely want us to talk about. And, I definitely want to pick your brain on things that's been going on within the community and things like that. Because, it's funny because, when I watch PSP, right, shout out to Kofi. Kofi is definitely the PC guy. We know that, right? Kofi and Alex, they're the PC guys. Jack is obviously the PlayStation guy. But I feel like you've got your hand in a little bit of everything. You get what I'm saying? which is pretty interesting because, like, you know how I feel about, I wouldn't necessarily say you like a quote unquote neutral per se, but I definitely feel like you give everything its fair chance, right? Yeah. Like I definitely feel like it's genuine when it comes from you. You get what I'm saying? Which I respect. Which I'm like, yo, that's really dope, right? So I definitely want to get your perspective on a lot of things when it comes into gaming, the community, recent news and things like that, right? But before we get into any of that, man, I want to start the show off by asking you a very important question. How did you get into gaming? Right? How long have you been gaming? How did you get into gaming? And like, you know, where does this passion come from?
Oh man. So yeah, so I was born in New York City, stuff like that. So Manhattan, I grew up in the projects or whatever. Couple bedroom project apartment with 7 siblings.
Okay.
And so, you know, we had a whole tribe up in there and everything. And I'm the youngest of 7. So being the youngest of 7 with 4 other brothers, gaming has pretty much always been within my household. You know, I never actually had the chance to get my own hands on my own kind of system until I was a little bit older. But as a kid, I just remember growing up when the Sega Genesis was out and playing Sonic, playing Street Fighter and stuff like that with my brothers. They were big like fighting game fans and stuff like that. So my brother used to go to the arcade a lot. And then when the games came to the home systems and they brought that home, it was over. We had the whole hood in the apartment building huddled up in front of the TV just playing the game. And I used to have to sit on the sideline a lot as a kid, a lot.
Being the baby brother,
being the baby boy, I had to wait my turn. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. A house of 7, so you could only imagine my hands was itching to play the game all the time. And then I just remember this one day when the Metal Gear Solid had came out, and I just remember how the whole family, this was like our first introduction to, a lot of people say like Metal Gear Solid was like their first introduction to games telling a deep ass story, and, you know, also having some like good gameplay at the time. And I just remember us being huddled around the couch, watching my oldest brother or one of my older brothers playing Metal Gear Solid, and that music come on in the beginning and he's swimming in the water and shit like that. He's like, oh, I was like, yo, this is crazy. Everybody's like, yo, this is intense. I didn't even know video games could do stuff like this. So like ever since then, and I always had a passion for gaming. And so, you know, as I got older, more brothers and stuff, things started to move around. I was able to kind of get my hands in on my own console around like the PS2 era. And from there, it was game on, bro.
Yeah, that's pretty dope, man. So did you start on PS1 or Super Nintendo? Where did you start? Like, where did you first get your taste of gaming?
Yeah, I would say the first game I could recall ever playing was Super Nintendo, Super Mario World.
Yeah.
And but it wasn't like around, of course it wasn't when that first came out, but that was just what was in the household at the time. I remember playing that. I remember playing Crash Bandicoot on the PS1, like I said before, Sonic on the Sega Genesis. Like those were the first games I remember ever playing. And it's probably why like Super Mario World is one of my favorite games of all time. But yeah, that was probably my first introduction to gaming. And I think to me personally, that's like where I would even start a child at if they were ever to like play games and stuff like that. Like I would probably start them there.
Oh yeah, when I have kids, man, they you going back to the old days.
Yeah, you gotta get the fundamentals.
You ain't getting that PS10 or it might be a PC Station 10, whatever whatever it is. You know, you ain't getting that. You got to start back then. Ladies and gentlemen, New York is in the building. You understand? 2 New Yorkers. Yes. This is definitely gonna be a very New York show. So growing up in NYC, you know, I'm sure you've heard of FuncoLand. So have you like gone there and things like that from back in the day? You remember going to those types of places?
Oh,
because
no.
I remember when I was young, I would go to FuncoLand, and like where I lived at in Queens, there was this my school from my school to my crib, there was like this pizza shop / arcade. They used to have like all these different arcade machines and would have all of these like, you know, like little anime manga books and all that stuff that you could buy and things like that. It was like a really like dope spot. And me and my friends would go there, or, you know, we would go to FuncoLand on Queens Boulevard, and we used to like read the magazines and the books and stuff like that, and play some of the demo stations and all that stuff. We used to do all that type of stuff. So those are like really good memories that I remember like as a kid, where it was like, yo man, like that's where like the passion kind of build up, like you, because like I would say like now, like when you know, now that you're older, do you still think that you have like that same type of passion, or do you think it's kind of dwindled and shifted in terms of how important gaming is to you. Like in other words, how important would you say gaming is to you now as an adult?
Yeah, it's even more important to me as an adult than it was before. Like gaming to me is like really connected to like even like my mental health and stuff like that. Like if I go too many days or weeks without playing a game, like I start getting down and like depressed and stuff like that. Like that's how important it is for me to play games in some sort of capacity. So like going back to like the whole Funko Land thing, I didn't go to Funko Land as a kid, but I do remember like the arcades, the ones that were like connected to laundromats and stuff like that, or pizza shops and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I do remember stuff like that, and yeah, just being able to access gaming, it grew just throughout the years, like especially in like the online era. That was huge for me, and staying up like from sundown to sun up the next morning on like 360 and PS3 and stuff like that, playing online gaming, like that's when it really got crazy, to the point where like people was like, yo, does this dude even like girls? Like does he like does he like girls? He's always online with his homies and shit like that. Like that's how bad I didn't go outside, bro. None of that.
Yeah. So in high school you wasn't playing like no sports or nothing like that? You was like just pretty much hardcore gaming?
Bro, I stopped playing sports, I would say like in middle school. Like I always had a passion for basketball, but once I realized that I wasn't gonna hit like 6'1", I was 6'2", I was like, you know what? It's a wrap for that.
You realize that, in middle school, like, it ain't happening. It's
a wrap for that. Everybody started shooting up past me. I'm like, you know what? It's over for that.
Yeah.
I used to be nice back, when everybody was around 5'5" and shit like that.
Yeah. Everyone started
once
getting
they passed
5'10", 6 foot, it's like, hold on.
Yeah, I'm like, you know what? Time for me to find another passion.
Looking like Space Jam out here, man. That's what's up, man. I mean, I remember, it's funny too, because like in high school, I was on the football team, but I definitely was still like super hardcore into the gaming, and I was really, really hardcore into that. But I was also doing a lot of other stupid shit that we're not gonna talk about on this show.
Oh, man.
But
Tell me about it.
Tell
me about it.
Yeah, we've all, if you lived in New York, especially in the 90s, early 2000s, we all did some stupid shit back in the day. Trust me.
Yeah.
Okay. So, fast forward to now, right? And being, a main member on the Press Start podcast, right? Now, I remember I was speaking with Kofi, and Kofi, he said that, in terms of like that friendship and that bond, you and him were like the first two to kind of hit it off, and kind of was like, yo, man, like, this a cool dude and things like that. In terms of Press Start and doing that podcast for as long as it's been going now, did you imagine that it would get to that level of what it is now? Because it's a very popular show. You guys got a very loyal, especially I was there during that big super chat craze. I was like, this is this is dope, man. Like,
that was
man,
insane.
like that's like, that type of love that you get from your support system and your fans, and that things like that is good to see, because it means that what you do every week it's touching somebody's life, right? It's
right.
It's an inspiration to somebody. So being at this level of where you at now with PSP, what's your thoughts on that, man? Like how are you feeling seeing it grow to what it is?
I remember back, because Kofi, I had stumbled across his channel when I can't remember what exact game it was, but I know he was doing like early reviews for certain games. I think it was Until Dawn he did, and I believe he also did a Bloodborne one as well. And I remember the first time I saw him, it was his Until Dawn early review, and I loved that. I loved that game. So I must have stumbled across his late. So I loved Until Dawn, but he didn't like it, and I was like, come on, look at this dude. I'm like, look at this dude talking about Until Dawn like it's a terrible game and stuff like that. I'm like, get this man out of here. But then I had stumbled across his Bloodborne early review, and I seen that he did like Bloodborne or whatever. But that was like, because I was madly in love with Bloodborne. I was watching all the early access videos, all the alpha footage and everything. So anything Bloodborne that came across my YouTube, I was watching. And I remember watching his Bloodborne stuff. He was like, yo, this game is good. This game is insane. If you're a Souls fan or whatever. And I never played any Souls games at the time. He was like, if you're a Souls fan or whatever, you're going to love this game. Check it out or whatever. So I just remember like following him off of that on his Twitter page. And then from there, we kind of like, you post your tweets here and there. And a lot of the stuff we had in common that we was talking about, like posting on Twitter and stuff like that. So we built a little relationship on Twitter. And then I had hit him up eventually. He was like, yo, we should start a podcast. Like, you know what I mean? He had his whole Press Start thing in his name at the time on Twitter. I'm like, yo, you should start a podcast with that name, Press Start. I'm called Press Start Podcast or whatever. He was like, oh, he's like, that sounds like a good idea, whatever. So we was doing it twice a month, pretty much, like every other week. And so to look forward now, like where we are, I definitely didn't see it being like this because now we're doing it every week. So I thought it would just be something we do twice a month. Get on here, talk about games. The vision was out there from other podcasts that people were doing, but putting it all together from scratch like that without really knowing too many personalities in the community was something that I didn't see in the future. So when we finally got the ball rolling, we had decided to talk with Jack, get him on there. We knew he was a funny guy.
I remember that too. They made fun of Jack because he was on all those fat guys.
All the podcasts, yeah.
Jeez, I remember.
But what can I say? Jack is a funny guy, so
he is very funny dude.
So his talents, they be needed out here in this community. And so we got that together, and then eventually we ended up adding Erica and Alex after having them as guests on our show when we decided to go like weekly and stuff like that. And that brought a different perspective, different balance, with Alex being the PC guy and Erica being a woman in gaming and stuff like that. So that was a nice little contrast to what we had going on already. To see the support that we get now, even if it's, we always appreciate the money, but it's like, I appreciate anybody that can come through and support, hit the like button, or even those messages that you get like, yo, I'm watching this at work, or I'm listening to this on my break, or yo, this helped me get through my day. Like stuff like that means a lot. Stuff like that keeps us going and keeps us humble. In order to know, like, we providing services to the people, and man, that's just awesome to see that we could build a community like this and see the results that we get.
Yeah, definitely, especially like getting those types of messages like, yo, man, I'm listening to this at work. It's like, damn, I'm helping you get through your day.
Yes.
I definitely like appreciate stuff like that as well, man. That's
right.
That's really dope to see and do, because in terms of passion, right, and integrity, that's always something that I hold very high. Like, I'm very passionate about gaming as well, and it's like within our community, oftentimes that the passion of why we all are here gets lost in the mix, right? So it's good to see, a group of dudes that are passionate, play games, right? And, able to come together and converse and chop it up and laugh and crack jokes. It's good to see that dynamic, because you don't really see a lot of that too much. It's the frauding, it's the, and I love the fanboy stuff. I'm not even going to say like the fanboy stuff is wrong. I'm not knocking that. I'm just saying the frauding is the biggest issue, and why some certain people might be here. But to shift it to your personal channel, right? I know you were doing YouTube for a bit, and I looked actually today to see how long has it been since you've done a video. It's been a minute. So you knew it, JMaine. You knew that question was coming.
Yes, sir.
The first question is, how did you get to that YouTube? So did the podcast happen first, and then you did the YouTube, or was that prior, where it's like, no, I'm doing I do post up videos here and there or whatever, and then the podcast kind of came and it became what it was. Like, explain your YouTube channel and why'd you stop?
Yeah, so my YouTube channel originally, it had started because I remember back when E3 was E3, and it was this, big gaming convention that fans could also go to as well as the media. And, you attend these conference shows and stuff like that. So before I even discovered this side of YouTube, in the community that I'm a part of now, I wanted to do YouTube in order to get to E3 one day. That was like always my dream when I had thought of starting a YouTube channel. I think
that was a couple of our dreams. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. Back in the day, that was definitely part of my dream too. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Right.
Go ahead.
Because I'm like, it would be dope as hell to, and I didn't even like look at it from the aspect of being like a media member on the show floor. I just wanted to kind of be in the crowd at one of these conferences because I always felt like those shows were lit. Like you get in the big three, and that was back when even Nintendo was coming to the E3 shows, and you had Xbox up on stage, you had PlayStation up on stage, you had Nintendo up on stage, and it was like they call it the Super Bowl or Christmas for gaming. Like that was the battle where you come with the best of your best, and they putting on all the theatrics. And I just remember the dude that PlayStation used to have, Kevin Butler, I think his name was.
Jack Trenton.
Yep. Kevin Butler, Jack Trenton. Like they used to always come up and crack jokes, and they was kind of knee deep in the console war stuff too. So I'm like,
but it was good though. It was lighthearted. It was good. Competition. Right. You get what I mean?
And back then I used to be a PlayStation guy. Heavy.
Oh, let's go.
Let's go. I used to be a PlayStation guy heavy. I wouldn't touch Xbox. Like literally, I didn't have an Xbox before Xbox One that I got as a gift since like the 360 back in 06. I wouldn't touch an Xbox. Nintendo, I would only play like over at my friend's house. But when it came to that gaming, I was on that PlayStation. There was nothing else that mattered to me. Okay. So I wanted to get into YouTube to get there one day. And of course, as the years went by, E3 kind of evolved, and it is what it is now. But I started
a shit show.
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Now you see the life, the truth of what it is. You got to wait in these crazy long lines to play even demos and stuff like that. I'm just like, that's not really that appealing to me. Yeah, it would be cool to meet up with some people that from the community, go out, have fun and shit like that. Like that would be dope. Yeah. But as far as like waiting for the line stuff, maybe I'll do that for a couple games. But going to the conferences was my thing, and now it's kind of all digital. People stepping out, things like that. So, my YouTube channel started with the premise that I was going to get to E3 one day, and so I was kind of dabbling with it here and there. I never got to the consistency that I always wanted, but the reason why you go to my channel now and it hasn't been a video for three months.
I had to put you on the spot, JMaine.
Yeah. It's because last year I had, it was a tough year for a lot of people with the whole COVID, the pandemic stuff. The racial war in the streets and everything. A lot of that kind of stuff took a toll on me. I kind of stopped. I really stopped having a passion for a lot of things, including gaming. Like, my love for a lot of things that I love, like my love for things like gaming and stuff like that, it kind of drifted. And I had to.
I'm curious, and you don't have to share it here if you don't feel comfortable. But where did the passion shift for like with it shift from YouTube, from gaming and all? Where was the shift?
I wouldn't even say it shifted to anything specific. I kind of just didn't want to do anything.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? Almost like pretty much like a depression almost.
Gotcha.
With everything that was going on around me and stuff like that. And with YouTube, it's always a battle of being consistent. And I know for myself, I'm a very, very, very small channel with like 1,000 and some subscribers. So in order to grow like you want to, you kind of got to put that work in every day. Whether it be like a stream or you're doing some type of content piece or anything like that, you kind of got to put that work in every day. And for me, I knew that it would take away from what I love the most, which was gaming. Like I could do it all, but sometimes after work, you're tired. Yeah. You only have enough energy to kind of put your mind on one thing. So for me, sometimes it was either gaming or it was either YouTube. And sometimes I would have that battle so much that I end up not even doing anything. So it's like that would be a day
too well.
Right. So days would just go by and by and by, and I'm not doing anything.
Yeah.
And then before you know it, I look up and it's like, yo, dog, you only beat like 13 some odd games. You ain't played half the list that you interested in playing. What's going on? So I had to step back and reevaluate what was important to me. And I realized that I got to put gaming first before anything. And when I'm comfortable and back happy in this space, then I could focus on other things and branching out. So for me, like, I've been gaming crazy. I already beat like 6 or 7 games on the year. Like, I'm trying to like get as much gaming in as possible. And I told you before, gaming is directly linked to my happiness. Like, I'm not even sugarcoating it one slight. Like, if I'm not gaming, I'm not happy. Period. So I got to get that in there. And that's, that's pretty much the gist of why I took a step back on the YouTube channel. But it's not quits, because I feel like I could do gaming and YouTube to the day I die. So it's there. I just, got to have the right mindset. Yeah. And then I'm gonna get back to it.
Well, I wanna ask you too, man. In terms of, because I know you said that you last year you were dealing with, you were feeling, depressed because of everything that's going on and stuff like that. And trust me when I tell you, between the real world stuff and all that, like, it definitely took a toll on me too. So I want to ask you, like, how, like, mentally, and I'm asking you this man to man, you get what I'm saying? Mentally, like, how are you now? Are you good now? Like, is everything good? Yeah.
That's good. I would say, I'm definitely doing much better than I was, I would say, towards the end of last year. You know what I'm saying? Just doing the work, realizing what I need to do to make myself happy. And, stuff like that.
No, that's good. That's good. I'm real big on mental health and making sure people, especially our people, are good. You get what I'm saying? So I'm real big on mental health and therapy and all that. Like, I believe in all that stuff. So I definitely think, so that's good. That's good to hear.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. Just to add real quick, like, because at first I didn't know what it was, you know what I'm saying, that I was dealing with. So it's very important to, like, if your mind or something is telling you something, like, try not to brush it off. And try your best and get the tools. And even if you got to seek help, people, go do what you got to do to get the help that you need, because mental health is real.
Especially with like this, with the pandemic and everything that's been going on.
And working in the field that I'm working in. I was working in, I'm working with individuals with disabilities and sicknesses and stuff like that. So I'm like front lines with the shit.
So
it was,
In other words, thank you for your service. You get what I'm saying? Because it's still going out there, especially at the height of the pandemic and things like that. Going out there, getting in how you live, making your bread, supporting your family, things that you're doing. That's real, so round of applause for that, man. Thank you. Oh, where's it at?
Appreciate it.
Round of applause. My soundboard acted up. Let's shift from that, and I definitely think I would definitely love to see you come back to the put some videos out, especially with the craziness that's been going on lately. Definitely want to get your thoughts. We're gonna get your thoughts here, but I definitely would love to see your thoughts on your channel. You get what I'm saying?
It be days like the home, like, I'm about to fire up the camera right now, so let's get it.
Listen, sometimes I remember, because I've been working from home since the pandemic started back in March of last year.
Wow, coming up on a year on that shit.
Yeah, it's a year now. Actually, today made a year.
Wow.
Literally, right? And so, I remember back when, we was going out and the world was normal. I remember I would see like news at work. Like, I'd be working, I check Twitter, I see some crazy news like, oh, PlayStation just put out of this, or Xbox just did this, whatever. And I would be, it would be like 11 o'clock in the morning. I'm fired up, like, oh, I'm about to get home on your podcast. We about to talk about this. I can't wait. I would hit up Barry or whatever, like, oh, Barry, you see this news? I gotta talk. I would be hype as hell. By like 4 o'clock, I get out of work. If my coworkers want to hit up a bar or something, go grab some drinks real quick or whatever, or if I'm going straight home, then that, the train ride home, the train ride. So, you on the train, especially at rush hour, ain't nowhere to sit. you know, the AC not working, or it's just too close. So then, you know, by the time you get home, it's like, I just want to take a shower and chill.
Right, you don't even want to do it no more.
Yeah, it's like I don't even want to. I want. It's like part of me want to do it, but then I'm like, yo, I'd rather just chill and play the game. You know, I just want to play the game. I just want to chill and watch some movies, take a shower, chill, watch movies. So like that was when I was going to work. But now that I've been working from home, I'm fired up at like 11 o'clock. I shut the computer down right there. So it's like I feel like I can do more. And it's funny that you say that when you were dealing with the mental health things and dealing with that stuff last year with all the stuff that was going on, you kind of pulled away from gaming. It's funny, I actually got deeper in, like I actually got pulled in the opposite direction in terms of like YouTube and gaming because you know, I work in IT. So IT, you know, I really don't have to go outside and do nothing. You know, like everything's on a computer. So I'm like, yo, how do I keep myself in a not sane is not the word that I want to use because it comes off as if, you know, someone's going crazy. But how do I keep myself in a mental space where I'm good, right? Gaming has always been that escape, right? But also the podcast, you know, talking about this, making jokes here, you know, because people look at, especially with me, and you know, people think because my preference is PlayStation, you know, I hate everything else. Like, nah, you want to see everything do good, right? As a gamer, I always say I'm a gamer first and a PlayStation fan second. So you want to see everything do good. How you going to see everything do good if you can't speak on the bad? But of course, I'm gonna make jokes about it too. You feel me? Xbox,
you got to.
Xbox
don't get these jokes.
Yeah, Xbox putting shit at $120 a year. You stupid? Of course we gonna make jokes. You get what I'm saying? But you get what I'm saying? So like, you know, the YouTube piece and the gaming piece was definitely my piece throughout the pandemic.
Right.
Definitely my piece. So
and that's how it started for me too. But you know, I think the social media was the killer for me. Like, it's like I got so wrapped up into like checking like coronavirus numbers every day and like seeing like people fight on social media with Black Lives Matter and politics and all this other stuff. It was just like overload and I'm like on social media. I had to like just stop everything. Like, it's too much right now. It's too much.
It's funny. I recently started like getting back super active and social last year I was like, it's funny too, because like when I was going out and working, I was active on Twitter, but not because, you know, you out, you know, I'm not really, I was really starting to get much more active when the pandemic really hit. But even part of last year, I pulled away because I was like, yo, man, like this, like some of y'all so stupid. Like, I just can't deal with this shit. Like, y'all are too stupid. Like, and I would much rather just play the game. Right. That's it. Like, I'll put a couple of, you know, joke tweets out or some news, and that's it. And I'm back to gaming. And a lot of that is being done in like a 5-minute break session or whatever. But I'm gaming. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. Yep. So.
And that when I got back to gaming, that's when, you know, things are starting to get better for me. So I realized, all right, that's what's important.
Yeah.
When it comes to my free time and stuff like that. So
definitely, man. I'm happy to hear it, man. To move on. Let's talk about. I want to first off, in terms of preference now, right? First off, how do you feel? So for me, and for instance, I'll use myself as an example. I prefer PlayStation, right? Right. When you hear somebody say something like that, right? How do you feel? Like, what are your thoughts on like fanboys? What are your thoughts on people with a preference? Because you know that there's this notion around, and within the gaming community that, you know, having a gaming preference is wrong. Like, oh, you should be, you know, enjoy everything. You know, you see it. You know what I'm talking about. So in terms of a preference, do you still prefer PlayStation? Have you gone more level? Like, where's your preference?
Right. So for me, like when it comes to preferences, I don't have an issue with people having the preference because I understand that there's always a reason for that. Like myself, I used to prefer PlayStation, and that was because they had the box that was delivering the games that I liked and wanted to play. And so, in a sense, when it comes to the games, I would say I still prefer PlayStation when it comes to the games strictly.
Okay.
You know, because they tend to make the games that I like the most. But getting introduced to the PC platform, I would say that has become my preferred way to play a game. And with that, I mean, like, with the freedom of resolution, frame rate, settings, and things like that. It's by no means perfect. I by no means have the best PC, but just the ability to have that freedom is what draws me to that lane a little bit more. Now, in these days, I give credit to what they're doing with the consoles in the sense that they're giving us more options.
Yeah.
So I can even understand more these days why people prefer a console than I did before, because even on Xbox, you have the options to play at 4K 30, or you want to go 1440p or something like that, 60, or you want to do the ray tracing and stuff like that. That's cool, because not everybody wants to play on a PC. Not everybody wants to build a PC. Not everybody wants to dish out the money needed to have a PC that's better than the console that they already have. And not everybody wants to play on that preferred platform. So I completely get it why people have a preference. The fanboy stuff, I think everybody's a fanboy in some sense. I'm a place, you can consider me a PlayStation fanboy because I fanboy for those games. You know what I'm saying? Some people might fanboy for a box, and that's the part I don't understand, because when it comes to consoles, I feel like there's options out there like a PC that can be better for you in terms of the box. If you really want to get down to the nitty gritty of the specs and stuff like that. But then I also understand that people don't want to deal with that. So it's levels to it at the same time. I just don't like the blind fanboy shit where it's like, all right, y'all really want to argue specs all day when you know that there's other stuff out there that the spec warriors is the ones that kill me the most. That's the ones that kill me the most. I can understand you, okay, this studio makes better games than that studio, cool. But when it comes to the spec stuff, that's kind of like facts on sheets of paper. That is what it is when you add it all up at the end of the day. So I would say I'm cool with preferences most of the way, and I get why people prefer certain systems and platforms over the other.
So I gotta ask you this question, JMaine. You know this question is coming.
Yes, sir.
Being a PC, seeing that PC is your preference now. This whole PlayStation game's going to PC.
Oh man,
you got to be laughing to the bank with this. You definitely got to be hey, I ain't mad. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
But I would want you, and I know you will look at this objectively, but in terms of what certain PlayStation fans are saying, right?
Yeah.
Do you at least understand what people are saying?
Okay.
And do you think that people are overreacting? And listen, this is a safe space. You can speak your mind. I want to put that out there because I don't want people to think that you have to. Oh yeah, it's Persona show. That means he has to agree. You don't have to agree at all. If you think it's stupid, if you think how people feel is unreasonable or stupid, say that. You're free to say that here, and we can have a conversation. You don't have to worry about none of the craziness. So are PlayStation fans overreacting? Break it down for us, man.
Right. So, yes, PlayStation fans are overreacting to this situation as of right now. As of right now, y'all
all right, show's over.
So, now hear me out. When I say they overreacting is because a lot of PlayStation fans that I see, and they talk about this, they like to bring up Xbox when it comes to bringing the games to PC. And what I like to tell people is that Xbox, the shit was hitting the fan for Xbox before they even got their games on PC. Xbox has been dwindling in quality of their big staple games for some years now. Gears has constantly been complained about not being what it used to be. Mm-hmm. Halo, since it went to 343, has been constantly complained about what it used to be. Mm-hmm. And every new IP that they tried to put out kind of fell flat on its face. So for me, when it came to Xbox putting their games on PC, it was like, well, their other shit ain't selling. Their other shit ain't selling. So they was like, all right, cool. We need to find a way to get people to get into our ecosystem. They're not buying our box. They're not buying our box like they buy PlayStation's box. 360, I like to tell people, was an anomaly, was the exception, not the rule. 360 was so far at least the only Xbox. I mean, there's only been three? The only Xbox that has that much success. And with that much success, it was the least so it's comparable to the least sold PlayStation console. You get what I'm saying? PS3 sold 80 some odd million. Every other PlayStation topped 100 million. So they had the games quality dipping. They had console sales not being what PlayStation is. So they had to figure out, how are we gonna get this money? How are we gonna get this money? Boom. Let's offer our games to more platforms. When you look on the PlayStation side, the quality of PlayStation games and exclusives and stuff like that is there. They got it. People, of course, come to PlayStation for the single player games, God of Wars, Uncharted, Last of Us, Spider-Mans, and stuff like that. Why I think people are overreacting, at least right now, as well, is because as of right now, it's just old games. It's just games that are years old. Hear me out. It's just games that are years old, starting with Horizon. And I think Horizon, and then we got Days Gone coming. I think those two were strategically chosen because Horizon has the Decima engine, which Kojima was working with, and I'm pretty sure he had been working with the PC version of Death Stranding at the same time. And then Days Gone, which is the Unreal engine, which has been on the PC platform, of course, for years now. So I think those two were strategically chosen at first. But for me personally, like I said, those are the only two as of right now. PlayStation console sales, I don't think it's going to take a hit because I feel like the majority of people who play PlayStation are the casuals, are the people that I said I understand their
Damn, I'm a casual.
No, not us. Come on, not us.
We casuals, damn.
Definitely not us. Definitely not us.
No sniff of that PC, man. He done looked down on us, man. He done turned his back. Oh man, PlayStation Nation.
Right.
I mean, there is. Okay, I understand. I get what you're saying. Like, you know, in terms of what's happening in the moment, right? It doesn't seem that big a deal, right?
Right.
But you know, I hate to use this example, but let's use it because I feel like it and I'm not minimizing the two, but I only want to just use this as an example. We knew about the coronavirus since 2019.
Right.
And America didn't do anything about it until March. And it was going on when it was going on back in, you know, September of 2019. Right. March 2020, America shut down.
Right.
Why? Where was the action being taken between 2019, like mid 2019, close to the end 2019, and March? Right? It's just where it is. You know, it's just here. It's not there. It's not in America. We're fine. And now look,
a couple cases will be gone crippling in a week or so.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
But and I only use that to say, and I'm only going to use myself. I can only speak for myself. When I see what PlayStation has been doing, right, and it's not just this, JMaine. You know, it's the other actions, like, you know, MLB, and we know MLB, the license. They say, look, either put it on all platforms or we take it away from you. I know that. But when you see a lot of what PlayStation has been doing lately, it looks a little fishy, JMaine. It looks a little fishy where I'm looking at it and I'm like, as a PlayStation fan, who was asking for this, right? Because, you know, JMaine saying, oh, well, you know, fans didn't have any type of adverse reactions. And, you know, who's
that was my favorite quote in that article,
oh, yeah.
By the
it's
way.
like, I'm like, who are you listening to? What fans depends what you're talking to, because
that's
real
what I
fans
mean by the
aren't
casuals.
But that's what I'm
That's
saying.
what I mean. They make up the majority. So if a game like Horizon goes to PC, they ain't seeing no adverse reaction to that. Half the people don't even know.
Well,
I'm asking Susie.
Good.
I'm asking Susie at Best Buy. She like, a PC? I'm just trying to get the PlayStation 5 for my son. Can you find me a PlayStation 5? A computer? True. That's what I use at work. Now that I'm working from home. True. I'm not using that to play no games.
True. Very true. I agree with you 100%. But then you still have to look at the writing on the wall with certain things, right? Now, this isn't me trying to cause a panic. This is me looking ahead because I know better. You get what I'm saying? Not saying, oh yeah, next year or tomorrow, all games to PC. And I've already said this, right? And I've gone on the record to say, the moment PlayStation does day and date, I'm on PC. Right. Like, I have no issues building a rig and getting that. I just prefer PlayStation because that's where the games that I enjoy to play are, and I can still enjoy the third parties, and I get the best of everything. But if the best of everything is on a piece of on hardware that I can upgrade, very modular and do all these crazy things to it, why stick around with the weaker hardware, right?
Right.
So that's where my head is at. But as a PlayStation fan, seeing what's going on, I'm like, this looks fishy. This looks out of place. This doesn't look very PlayStation, right? And it's funny because I've had this conversation with Kofi back when we did our interview last year, and he couldn't understand the concept of why exclusives are important, or why exclusives are so important to PlayStation fans or fanboys and things like that. So I kind of want to lead into that question with you in terms of exclusives. How important are they? This is a two-part question. How important are they to you? But also, how important do you think they are to the industry?
Okay. So for me, back when I only had a PlayStation, I used to think exclusives were very, very... Actually, I still do think exclusives are important. But it depends. It's like the exclusive conversation for me has a lot of levels to it. So when I look at something like a Google Stadia, I felt from the gate that Google was trying to sell us a service of streaming. So you're already fighting an uphill battle there. In order to get people to even bypass that uncertainty of a streaming service, you have to give them something that they can't. I feel like they had to give you something that you can't find anywhere else, aka an exclusive. I felt that they dropped the ball when they didn't have the studios in motion making games before they released the service. So when they launched, they were delivering the same games that you can get elsewhere, but on a streaming platform that people are already iffy about, whether it be latency, whether it be quality of graphics, whether it be internet service. So in that sense, exclusives to me there were very important. When it comes to PlayStation for me, I feel like exclusives are important there, but I feel like they have a footprint so deep in the console gaming that it wouldn't make a difference if they had exclusives or not. I feel like their name, PlayStation, rings console bells regardless of where the games are going to be.
Now,
so
I want to ask you this question, JMaine. I'm gonna ask you a tough question here, and I want you. I know your answer truthfully, but I'm just gonna say, give me your honest answer here.
Gotcha.
If you were still solely playing games on PlayStation and not have a PC and not gaming on PC, would you still have this same type of answer? Would you have given this same type of answer? Honestly.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm not answering the question.
I thought you said. I was gonna say, oh damn.
Don't think that is my answer yet. Don't think that is my answer yet. I'm trying to think because I gotta be honest with myself. Like this community kind of opened my eyes to a lot of different things. I used to be that guy that was all PlayStation. Everything had to be on PlayStation, or it wasn't valid. But I'm just like, it's just like now I'm like, yo, this shit could go anywhere and it would not make a difference to me for PlayStation.
But you primarily game on PC now, JMaine. So of course your thought process. So let's bring it back to just being only on PlayStation and playing solely on PlayStation. Would that same thought process exist for you?
Yes, I'm gonna have to say yes.
Okay,
I'm gonna have to say yes. Like if I didn't have a PC, yeah, I'm gonna have to say yeah, because I've always looked at PC as a platform that, yes, it has a lot of users, but they not buying. Like, Steam always talks about how many millions or billion user base they got, but like stuff is not selling to that capacity each game and stuff like that. So only reason I would have a problem with something is if like it was taken away from what I had. So like if I was a PlayStation only gamer and you told me Horizon going to PC took away something from the sequel of Horizon, then I would have a problem. But I'm an only PlayStation gamer, Horizon going to PC means for me more games sold, which means PlayStation hopefully is getting more money, which means hopefully that money can go into Horizon 2. That's how I'm looking at it, even as a PC gamer. Because I tell you right now, if Horizon 2 or something, we all know it's going to be on PS5, possibly even PS4. But if they told me that was coming to PC 6 months, 2 weeks, nigga, 2 days later on PC, I'm not waiting. I'm going to play it wherever I need to play it first. Yeah. In fact, you might even get 2 copies out of me just because of that. You might get 2 copies out of me just because of that. But I'm not waiting. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it don't even matter where they put the games for me. Wherever it's at first is where I'm going to be.
Okay. I respect that answer. I'm surprised, but I respect that answer.
I just don't think the quality is gonna dip. You know, Horizon had a bad PC port. If anything, I think that's where the issues are gonna be, is them putting enough effort into the PC ports. And I understand that people have the fear that it might take away from what they're already working on, which I think we saw a little bit with Horizon.
The chat said JMaine capping.
I'm just being honest with myself, dog. I'm telling you.
Hey, listen, I'm with you, but the chat they saying it's cap. They say it's cap.
Oh,
hey man, listen. So then in terms of the industry, right?
Yeah.
How important do you think exclusives are to the industry then? Like, do you feel that as an industry, exclusives can go away, and the industry wouldn't really be fazed by that?
Let me see. This would go away, and the industry would be fazed by it. I think the industry would take, as a whole, I think it would take a little hit. But I don't think it's anything that. I think the console sales would take a hit. Maybe you might see a little bit fall back on the console sales, but I think game sales would increase because you're offering it to more people. They're offering that game to more people. So if it is true that maybe they're making more money on the game sales, at least early on, than they are on the console sales, then I think, it'll be fine in terms of the industry. Console sales taking a hit, a little bit. When I say a little bit, I mean a very little bit, because I'm just of the mindset that people who want a console are always gonna buy it.
Yeah.
And the people who wait or don't have like Horizon, that game is 3 years old by the time it came to, I think, or 3 or 4 years old by the time it came to PC. The motherfuckers ain't buying no PlayStation. Like, come on. At that point, 4 years in, you're probably not buying the PlayStation. So that's why I think that's fine. But if it was day and date, yeah, you're gonna lose some people. You're gonna lose me. Oh, yeah. I'm going. I'm going. So
you're gonna lose me.
You're gonna lose me.
I spent a lot of money on PlayStation. They trying to lose this wallet. Fine.
Right. So you might lose some people to the ecosystem, but I think it's gonna be fine. I think it's gonna be fine.
Yeah. Chris said, ask JMaine, why doesn't he like cheese on his pizza?
Oh shit. As crazy as that sounds, yes, I order my pizzas with no cheese on them.
What?
If I can.
Hold on.
Yes,
I thought that was just a joke. What?
No, that's facts.
Wait a second.
That's facts.
Wait a second. You a New Yorker and you not eating cheese on the pizza? Like,
Yes,
is this
sir.
like a diet thing? Like what?
No, I had a bad experience with cheese as a kid, and
Can we get the story?
oh yeah, sure. So it ain't nothing too crazy, but I just remember I remember my mom's used to always send us to the store, corner store, shit like that, back when I lived in New York City, to get her some Lay's classic potato chips and a quarter pound of fucking sliced deli yellow cheese.
Okay.
And that was her little go-to snack. You know what I mean? She would wrap the chips in the cheese, do her thing. So I guess some cheese in the fridge might have been maybe a week or so past date.
Oh no.
And I ate some yellow cheese and I threw up from it. Got sick real bad. And I never looked at cheese the same from that day. I've been scarred for life.
What?
So yeah, so now just the smell of cheese kind of like makes my stomach turn.
What?
Yeah. Yep.
So you don't wait a second. So you don't eat mac and cheese?
No.
Hey yo, bro. Yo. hey, what? Yo, this is
no baked mac and cheese for me on Thanksgiving, bro. I can't do it.
This is mind blowing. I'm really like blown away by this, bro.
Yeah, so like my wife, she's Italian, so they love their cheese and shit like that.
Yeah.
So when she makes like baked ziti and stuff like that, I get a little section with no cheese on it.
Jeez.
When she makes lasagna, fam, I get a little section with no cheese on it and stuff like that. Like,
yo.
I mean, destroying classic dishes, but that's just it is what it is. No cheese, dog.
Hey, I can imagine you call, hello Domino's. Yeah, can I get a pizza, no cheese?
Cheese.
Excuse me. Thinking you prank calling this shit.
Right.
Hey, yo,
I still get that a lot, bro. Like, what? No cheese? Like, I be at I don't know if y'all got the Blaze Pizza in New York City, but that shit like Subway for pizza. You know what I mean? You kind of go have it your way, put whatever toppings you want. And the first topping after the sauce is always the cheese. So after they put the sauce on it, they're like, all right, what cheese you want? I'll be like, nah, no cheese. Huh?
So what topping you get? Like pepper? You still get pepperoni and all that sauces and all that, or you just get sauce and bread and dough?
I'm about to say another blasphemous statement. I put the pineapple on my pizza.
This show is over, man. Oh my! So you putting hold up. So you putting no cheese on pizza?
Yes, sir.
And then you putting pineapples?
Mm-hmm.
Oh Jesus, man.
Yo, my go-to pizza right now is regular sauce, spinach, pineapple, and olives. That's my shit right there, dog. Black
like
olives,
the nastiest
dog.
Pizza I've ever I like olives though. Like olives, I'll definitely like olives. Like this is gonna sound now. Anchovies. Like I never liked anchovies as a kid, but I'll try like anchovies on pizza now is pretty dope. So, but no cheese and then pineapples.
No cheese, dog.
You can never order the pizza around me, bro.
I get killed for it every day, bro. Every time I order a pizza, dog, they destroy me. I'm getting roasted for life. Jeez, roasted for life.
That's what's up though, man. And then I know OBJ had a question. Let me ask you. Let me see where is it at. I know OBJ had a question. Yeah, OBJ the Don got a question. He
not OBJ.
Well, OBJ said, ask JMaine about that time he said he'd let Phil Spencer play tug of war with his do-rag. I need answers. We need answers, sir. What's going on with that?
I'm never gonna be able to get away from this goddamn do-rag shit. I mean, I don't help my case by wearing a do-rag every damn podcast. Jeez. But man, I was on an episode of Any Given Sunday, Hard Eights podcast or whatever. Okay. And now it's it's formed to what it is now. But I was on an episode there, And we was kind of having a little discussion about, you know, what we like to do in the bedroom and shit like that. You know what I mean? A little R-rated kind of conversation. Mm-hmm. And yeah, wait, you know what's funny about this conversation? Mm-hmm. Is that this man OBJ was the one that said he liked to get his salad tossed at the end of the day. So he want to talk about my damn do-rag. Oh, no. This man like to get his salad tossed at the end of the day. But I was talking about how I like to get down in the bedroom. And somehow it led to me saying I like to, you know what I mean? I like to do what I do. I like to, you know what I mean, dabble in the box and shit like that. They was like, why you not eating ass? I'm like, hold up, I ain't say that. They was like, hold up. He was like, hold up, your girl be eating your ass, or you like to get your do-rag pulled? I'm like, whoa, what the fuck, bro? I'm like, yo, where did that come from? I didn't even say nothing.
Oh no. So
now every time I wear the do-rag, somebody in the chat like, yo, this dude like to get his do-rag pulled.
Oh man. Oh, that's a great story.
Nah, it's jokes at the end of the day.
Yeah, all jokes. Mm-hmm. All right, so a couple more questions. One thing I like to ask my guests on the show that come through, I always like to ask what their thoughts is on the current state of the gaming community, right? And you're on social media, you see all the stuff like I do. You see the craziness, you see the good stuff and all that stuff. Looking at the gaming community and how it is now, right? What's your thoughts? Seeing just how certain people are, see how things kind of play out with certain situations, the fraud and people lying about playing games, people using streams to review games. It's just mad. It's a madhouse on within the gaming community. Right. What's your thoughts on it?
Yeah. So I mean, I pretty much came into this gaming community back in 2013, I want to say. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of like the whole console war stuff going on. That was around when PlayStation dropped the bomb on the $399 on the PS4, and the Xbox One was gonna be $499 or whatever. So I kind of came in on the console war type stuff. So I know myself personally, I do get an enjoyment out of seeing people go back and forth. Mm-hmm. So I don't mind it. It's all fun. This is the type of shit we used to do in the lunchroom. You know what I mean?
Yo, that's a fact though, bro. That's why I laugh because people like to condemn. And listen, there's a lot of weirdos in this community, right? We're not gonna sit here and say there ain't weirdos. There's weirdos out here, man, that just they don't know how to separate real life from gaming. They too invested and not in a good way. Right. But the jokes, the back and forths, that shit we used to do in the lunchroom. I remember when I was young, right? It was always Sega versus, Sonic versus Mario, Sega versus Nintendo, PlayStation versus Xbox. That stuff has always been a thing. And this is something that I've always wondered. It's what's your favorite sports team? Basketball team, the Nets, right?
Yeah, Brooklyn Nets. Yes, sir.
Right? Being a sports fan, I'm sure you've gotten into some heated sports debates.
Oh, what? Listen, I'm a Nets fan. I'm the only, so my family from New York. Everybody else is Knicks fans. I'm the only Nets fan, bro. So I'm arguing with my family every day. Yeah. So, you know what I mean? Getting down on social media, it's war. Oh, yeah. It's war.
Yo, especially during, you know why I love sports, football season so much? Is because every time a team loses, especially if it's the Cowboys, the jokes are all over Twitter, and it is always some funny shit with the crying Jordan meme. It's always funny, right? But that back and forth is harmless, it's jokes. At the end of the day, we all like sports, right? I always wondered, why is it that sports, favorite movies, favorite, TV shows, favorite, the anime community, they argue constantly about this anime is better than this. This is the top five, but gaming is the gaming community is the only community that looks at people with a preference or console fans or fanboys, whatever you want to call it, as a negative, where you see worse things after a sports game of people
Facts.
getting their ass whooped. And you know what I mean?
Right.
Living in New York, especially living in Queens, when it's a Mets game,
Mets games,
and the
I'm
Mets,
a Mets fan too.
and when it's a Mets, I'm a Mets fan too. When it's a Mets game and the Mets lose,
Right.
oh no, people are outside fighting. They're like fist fighting, right? Arguing. They drunk, doing all the stupid things, right?
Right.
Why, or like, don't let a football team, don't be in like the hometown of a football team that lost, and you on the other, you a fan of the other team, the away team.
Oh my God. So,
Hey, bro, you gonna get stomped.
In 2019, I went to my first football game. I went to the Jets versus the Giants game. Tell me why there was a Patriots fan at the game. This dude was a Patriots fan at the Jets versus the Giants game. He came there specifically to talk shit to Jets and Giants fans. He came there for no other reason. This man got his ass beat by the middle of the second quarter. I'm talking about fists and feet put all over this man. And the craziest part about that is nobody else around even gave a fuck. They was like, this man getting stomped out in section C. People in section A, B, and D looking straight ahead like nothing is going on. Like,
that's every day to them, man. Like,
it's normal.
That's normal. That's what I'm saying. So like when I see, PlayStation versus Xbox or whatever, that stuff is just, it's just people, it's their preference. It's back and forth debates. Only time it gets crazy for me personally, and I don't know if you agree, only time it gets crazy is when it gets outside of gaming, right? Talking about people's family, you getting personal and all that stuff. That's when I'm like, all right, guys, like, let's bring it back to gaming. But in terms of like debates, cracking jokes, I don't see that stuff as an issue. I see that shit as funny.
So I think the biggest issue with the gaming community and the whole fanboy and back and forth arguing and stuff like that, it really comes down to the people playing the games, to me. And why the comparison is so different to me from like sports, movies, TV shows, even music and sneakers and stuff like that, is for gaming, to experience a whole game, you got your indie titles that are a couple hours, but for the most part, games are like 10 to 12 hours if you want to play like a short linear game. But if you're trying to play like an open world game or open linear game, it's like I'd be putting like 20, 30 hours, if not more, into these games. And I think that's what happens, is that it's so easy to get online and look at a game and say it's trash and not consume it. That people are coming out the woodworks and talking shit about stuff that they haven't even played. Whereas a movie is 2 hours tops. So you can go and consume a movie for 2 hours and then boom, you hop right online. You know everything. You can talk shit about it. You can do whatever you want. And it's not frowned upon because you consume the product. It's when the people get online and they talking shit about a Gears of War. They talking shit about a Breath of the Wild or Horizon Zero Dawn. And they haven't put in enough hours or beaten the game to even say anything about it. So you get online, you're talking about all these specs. You get online, you're talking about all these this game is that. You're making all these lists and tier lists. Have you played half of those games that you put on that list? Have you beaten 25% of those games that you put on that list? If not, then what the hell are we really talking about? You know what I'm saying? So for me, that's where I come in. And what my issue be a lot of times is are these people playing the games? At least that they're worrying about. Even if it's on the other side, because at the end of the day, we gamers. Yeah. So you know what I'm saying? If a game is good, or if you want to talk shit about a game that's bad, let's give it a shot. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like I tried out the medium. You know what I mean? Before I played it, I'm looking at this game like this game's probably gonna be trash. But I do kind of enjoy some of those walking simulators, like a Until Dawn or like a Heavy Rain and stuff like that. So I'm like, all right, let me check it out. The performance was shit. The voice acting was terrible. The animations were bad. But I fucking love the story. So I'm like, I can say that about the game. I beat the game. It needs a lot of fucking work, and Bloober Team needs to get their shit together. But they tell a great story, so it's something there. I can tell you about that.
But you see how you were critical there, JMaine?
Right.
You see how you were able to criticize something like that in a manner where you're praising it for its positives, but you're also being critical of the negatives. And unfortunately, the negatives outweigh the positives in this in that scenario, right? Now I haven't played the game, so I'm only going to go off what you say because you've played it, right? That's how I look at Xbox, right? You know, when we look in the industry and we look at gaming, right? You know, I love playing games. Gaming is definitely, it's a passion. I enjoy it, right? But when you're looking at the weakest link in gaming, of course, a lot of people are going to look at that and say, oh, well, you're bashing, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, but this is legit a problem. Right. That needs to be looked at, right? And I think a lot of people in the community have a problem, like their alliance, if you will, is so strong with a specific product that they have a problem with any type of criticism being spoken about their favorite platform because of how strong the alliance is. I think that's where the problems, that and people not playing games, I agree with you. I think that's where the problem is, right? Because I can look at PlayStation and be like, PlayStation, you fucking up. PlayStation, you need to tighten up because you're looking funny out here. Right. I can look at, somebody else that may have that, be critical of something and be like, oh, okay, that's their opinion, that's cool. If I want to question it or go deeper, fine, but I'm never losing sleep over this, right? I think a lot of people in this community, they legit lose sleep over the negatives that people speak about of these platforms. And it's like, yo, listen, I'm still playing games. True. It's just like with this whole PlayStation, games going to PC. Yeah, I'm going to speak my piece. But at the end, I put this on Twitter. At the end of the day, I'm playing games, man.
Right.
And then I'm playing games.
You're right, because that's very true, because like I have negative and positive, of course, opinions about all of these platforms. I remember when I was getting on PlayStation about the whole crossplay shit, I'm just like, listen, like I don't know what the business side of it is, and I'm sure they got the data to show some stuff, but I'm just like, in my opinion, putting crossplay in the game, people are still gonna come to your platform because y'all known to provide the good game. So I think like the crossplay stuff wasn't gonna be a big issue. Just go ahead and enable it. Or even when you look at Horizon Zero Dawn coming to PC, I know Jack Moo brought this up a lot. How is Horizon Zero Dawn on PC have all these bells and whistles and running above 60 FPS, but PS5 still doesn't have an update for the game? You know what I'm saying? Like that is an issue. If you're going to be bringing games to PC, at least make sure that your console versions is the best that they can be. And so that's something that I listen to on that side. And then like Nintendo where do I start? Where do I start with Nintendo? Whether it's game prices, whether it's lack of terrible ports, remasters, if you want to call it that, system features, like where do I start?
This most Xbox recent Nintendo Direct, just like, right? Hey, yo, what are you doing?
But shout out to that Splatoon 3 because I will be there day one. You heard?
I never, you know what? Confession, I never played Splatoon before. None of them.
Oh my god!
I'm thinking about picking it up. I'm thinking about picking up Splatoon 2.
Is you a kid now or you a squid now, dog? I promise you, by the end of your session, you will be a squid and a kid. You gonna be both of them shits. You gonna see new light.
Is you a kid now or a squid now? Yo, I like that. I like that a lot, man.
Yeah. So I get it. I get it. Yeah. The whole, people can't accept criticism, and that's true. People can't, and so that and at that point it becomes beating a dead horse because you're constantly trying to tell people some shit that you've been trying to tell them over and over. And at that point, I just got to mute certain things. Like you just got to mute it. Like, all right, come on, I'm kind of tired of hearing it.
Yeah. Last question, man, and this one I definitely want you to, you could let loose if you want. So, imagine you standing in front of the entire millions and billions of gaming of people within the gaming community, right? Yeah. What would you say to them?
Oh, like anything?
Yeah, well, yeah. What would you say? What would you like? You are talking to the gaming community right now. What would you say to the gaming community?
Okay, so what would I say to the gaming community? First and foremost, as a gamer, play what you enjoy, regardless of what platform it is on, regardless of what people have to say about said platform, regardless of what what said platform is offering, as long as it is what you enjoy first and foremost, because at the end of the day, your happiness is the most important thing when it comes to this hobby. You know, it's like, you know, we kind of get online sometimes and we get lost in the whole console war stuff, and it's fun. It's all funny games. Do your thing, talk your shit, make your memes, make your jokes, but just never forget what we all doing this for. We all want to see gaming thrive. Gaming has came so far in the years since it started. And it's probably one of the biggest, you know, freaking sources of entertainment in today's world. And that's because of a lot of us have been sticking with it. A lot of us have been preaching about what we love and what the games can do for us and what stories it could tell, what gameplay experiences we have had. And, you know, now it's opening the eyes for more people to play. So keep that passion alive, keep doing what you love, and have fun with it, man. Game on.
Hey, man, that's perfect.
Man.
That's good, man. Yo, listen, JMaine, man, it's been an honor to sit here and talk with you, man, and have you on the show. Round of applause for JMaine, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Appreciate it, man.
Real quick, last question. JMaine, where does that come from? Like the main part, is that a part of your name, JMaine?
Yeah, my name is my full name is JMaine.
Okay, yo, that's nice.
So
yo, I like that. Okay, JMaine. Yo, that's fire. That's fire. Okay.
No, I was in school and shit, and now people used to call me Jay. People used to call me Maine and stuff like that. And one of my little homies, he was like, "Yeah, I'm about to just start calling you JMaine." I'm like, "Word?"
Yeah,
I'm like,
that's
cool.
fire.
It kind of just started. Everybody was calling me JMaine and shit. So
that's
it is
fire.
what it is.
That's fire, JMaine.
And I kept King Jay too as like my Twitter name, like my head name, because that used to be my rap name and shit like that. So I used to go by King J.
Oh, you used to rap?
Yeah, I used to rap and shit like that.
Yo, let's.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't know if the people know, but me and Kid Smooth and Kofi had a little battle going on and stuff like that. The whole Switch Gang stuff and all of that. We might have to bring that back. We might have to bring that back.
Definitely bring that back, man. JMaine out here rapping. All right, yo, listen. I love it, man. I love it. Yo, listen, man. Like I said, it's been an honor to have you here, man. I really appreciate you being here. Good conversation. You know, just let the people know where they can find you, and things of that nature.
Yes, sir. So of course, I appreciate my guy Persona for having me on the show. Really love what you're doing over here on the channel with the interviews and all the content that you provide. And shout out to the people in the chat. Saw some of my guys down there. For the new people that have been introduced to me, I am JMaine. You can find me on Twitter at JMaine518. Also on Press Start Podcast every Thursdays about 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Check us out if you love what you hear. Also consider our Patreon, which we have going on for $1 a month. You can get an extra podcast that we do called Off the Record, where we let loose. we really get down. So if y'all, you know what I mean, if y'all down for that off the wall, talk about anything topics, you can also submit your questions. So we're down to answer anything, and you can check us out there. So again, I appreciate my guy Persona for having me, and it's been a blessing.
Definitely, man. Definitely. Like I said, man, appreciate you, JMaine, for being here. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I put JMaine's links into they're in the description, but also they're in the chat as well. Definitely follow him. Definitely check out his content. Definitely check out Plush Star Podcast on Kofi's channel as well. Really good, really good show.
Yes.
Definitely go. I love it when it's bad PlayStation news because Jack, I'm telling you, man, Jack. Oh man, yo, this dude is a character, bro. It's always extra. It's just a little extra entertaining when it's bad PlayStation news, and Jack is, he go off.
It's to the point now with Jack. I hope you listening. I be kind of baiting Jack a little bit. I got to though, because at this point we've been doing the podcast with Jack for a couple years now. I kind of know what ticks him off a little bit.
Yo, I always know when Jack pissed off, because when the news start flowing, and y'all, especially when we get to the PlayStation news, Jack don't never say nothing. He don't be looking at the camera. He just be like, yo, he just be quiet, and I feel like, yo, Jack is pissed, but he chilling though, man. He composed, but he definitely pissed, man. I remember the episode where dude was talking shit in the chat. Jack was like, "Well, I'll tell you something, dickhead."
That's the shit. That's when you know. That's when you know he picked up. When he started throwing that dickhead.
Yeah.
Oh, it's over. It's
Yo,
over.
man, shout out to the PSP crew. I'm definitely gonna hit up Alex. I want to get Alex on here. That's gonna be a fiery show. Y'all don't want to miss
that's
that.
gonna be a good show. Good one.
Listen, man, appreciate everyone for being here. To people that are listening to this later, appreciate you guys as well. The lurkers, the day ones, the early birds. I appreciate you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this show. This was Win Persona Interviews, number 10. And man, I hope you guys have a great night, man. And we out. Peace.